Hi everyone. I thought while I'm out here today I might as well share a little trick I use to help me find fatwood easily. Now a lot of people who live in places where there's plenty of pine have probably figured this out, but for those who haven't figured this little trick out, I figured I might as well share it. A lot of people say when you're looking for fatwood, go out into a field, find a pine stump and bust it open. That will take a lot of time and energy, and that's after you find one, which you may not do. I have a little trick for finding it on both branches and trees that have fallen, as well as trees that are still alive. Now, and it's, you look for the dead branches. Sounds simple. And it really is. One of the reasons why fatwood forms in the stumps is that when the tree dies, the resin sinks down and down into the stump, into the base of the tree. You know, the rest gets knocked down or cut down. But the same thing happens with the branches when they're on the tree. See, when you get a branch, say, if this tree was growing and this branch died because it wasn't getting enough sunlight or it snapped off, say it snapped off there, this has a lot of, sap in it. All that sap will slowly go down into the trunk of the tree and will cause fatwood to form at this junction. Now, just because you find a dead branch on a pine tree doesn't mean it's going to happen. I've already harvested about probably 4 chunks of fatwood off of this downed limb. Well, actually no, this isn't a limb, this was a tree. It died ages ago, the base had rotten, and it fell over. And I've been harvesting fatwood from it using that trick. Because, well, I haven't got the time and I don't want to spend the energy to bust open that stump. So I figured I may as well share the demonstrations. Now, it doesn't work every time. I mean, if it breaks off too close to the stem, it's not going to have enough sap to form fatwood, or if it died with the rest of the tree, it might not form. But it's just a matter of going along and you find something like that that's dead, and you snap it. And see? That one didn't work. That's not fatwood. But this piece is, which I took from just up on here. I pulled this off, and you break it off, you smell it, you look at it, and if it's fatwood, it's fatwood. And once you've broken it off, you know that that knot is fatwood, so you can dig into it, like what I've done on, say, this one. You can see I've hacked away at it and gotten into there to pull more fatwood out of it. But it doesn't always work. But for purposes of demonstration, I'm eyeing off this big piece here as well. Nope, very little. See, last time I brought this out, they all worked. Ah, that one's fatwood. You can tell by, even just looking at it, it's quite red, if you know what fatwood looks like. But, you just break it off and you smell it. And that's got that pine smell. So that's fatwood, even though down there wasn't. So break off that end, that's not fatwood, which means none of this would be. Well, probably not. No. That's the fatwood end. Tiniest little bit on that end, so, just like that, that's a little bit of fatwood right there. Sometimes you get lucky and you get a big, really rich chunk. Sometimes it's not so strong. but you know, it's really hit and miss. But to be honest, would you rather tear open a stump for something that's hit and miss, or snap off a twig? I mean, you could spend tons of energy tearing open a stump, which may or may not contain fatwood. This way is just really quick, and you can quickly find out that it doesn't move on to the next branch. Now, that little bit has got some in there, so it would, you know, if you really wanted it, be worth going in a bit further. Now that ain't a lot, but it's a tiny chunk of fatwood. To be honest, see, last time I came out here I was getting lots of big ones, but oh well, such is life. Let's try this one. Ooh, here we go. There's a really rich bit, and I can look down there, I can even see the crystals of it. And well, that's a little bit of fatwood. It's not, you know, a super rich chunk, but you know what? It's got enough resin in it that you can actually smell the fatwood, so that'll help you with your fire. Now I have done this and gotten huge chunks, but you know, that's probably going to be the exception, not the norm. Alright, here's a better looking candidate. It's a nice low branch. It's still got a couple of forks on it, but it's been dead for ages. And it's on a tree that's still alive, so let's give it a go. And we have a little bit of fatwood, not all that strong. I wouldn't really bother with it too badly. Almost. It's just been on there maybe a bit too long. Here's another one. Give it a try. Resinous, but not quite fatwood. And a bit 2 hour reach. Next one. Very resinous. Don't know if I would call it fatwood though. Would burn pretty good, but not quite fatwood. Resinous, but not fatwood. Alright, here's a deformed tree, and I have pulled fatwood right out of that node right there before. So let's give some of these other nodes a shot. Oh, that's quite resinous. Yeah, I guess we could call that piece fatwood. A little on the weak side, but you know, strong enough we could maybe call that fatwood. So, if we dug that node out, we'd have a nice chunk of fatwood. That one. Well, that looks promising. Sorry, the batteries just died, but check that out. That is definitely fatwood. In fact, I'll probably hold on to that, maybe trim some of this stuff that's not fatwood off. But that's just a little trick to help you find some fatwood a bit faster. I'd like to add that I have more luck with downed branches and trees that have just fallen over than I do with long-standing live trees. I don't know if that's because maybe the branches have been on there so long that all of the resin has soaked down into the trunk of the tree and now it's no longer fatwood, although many of them were quite resinous, but I wouldn't call them fatwood. You know, just below fatwood, but that is fatwood. This deformed tree, I don't know why, but I'm having my best luck out of anything with this deformed tree. So if I ever see another tree that's as deformed as this, I'm definitely going to have a go at it to see if I can get fatwood out of it. it could be the deformity, it could just be this one tree, I don't know. Alright, well, I hope that was helpful to some people out there who have been having a little trouble finding fatwood, or just people who like to use fatwood in general. Even though today I had a very low success rate, if I had gone through that many stumps, I'd be exhausted. This isn't a surefire method. I mean, I think the highest I've ever had for a success rate is maybe 50-60% in a day. But, you know, today was a lot lower than that. Although I came across more that were almost fatwood than nowhere near. However, I did find some fatwood pretty quickly without expending too much energy. And, you know, you're not gonna find fatwood in every stump you bust open, unless you're really lucky. But this method takes seconds. This is just a much less labor intensive way of finding fatwood than busting open stumps. Alright, well, I hope that was helpful. If you haven't already, please subscribe, like, leave a comment, or even favorite this video if you like it enough. Alright guys, see yous.